This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. For the second time this week, a longtime Winnipeg politician is facing serious criminal charges involving allegations of sexual assault. This time, a former city councillor and Manitoba cabinet minister. CBC I-Team reporter Michelle Allen has been digging into the accusations for days and joins me in studio now. So Michelle, what do we know so far?
Brittany, the charges are against former Progressive Conservative Finance Minister Scott Fielding. It comes after a months-long investigation by police stemming from an alleged incident 2 years ago when Fielding was working at a consulting firm. And a warning to viewers, this story includes descriptions of sexual violence allegations. A former co-worker alleges Scott Fielding forced his way into her hotel room and sexually assaulted her 2 years ago. That's according to a production order CBC obtained. Today, Winnipeg police announced they've charged him with sexual assault. Both Fielding and the woman worked for consulting firm KPMG at the time. A former politician, Fielding was a Winnipeg city councillor from 2006 to 2014. Then elected as MLA in Winnipeg's Kirkfield Park in 2016. He served as Families Minister, Finance Minister, and Natural Resources Minister. After leaving politics in 2022, he started working at KPMG. According to court documents, police began investigating Fielding after the woman reported being sexually assaulted in March 2024. The charge has not been tested in court. A Winnipeg detective's sworn affidavit says it happened in a downtown Winnipeg hotel after a party, and that Fielding ignored the woman's pleas to stop. She attempted to crawl away, but he continued to be forceful and yell profanities at her, says the affidavit. It also says she suffered bite marks and scratches, but didn't seek medical attention. The woman also filed a complaint with KPMG, which did its own internal investigation. Fielding resigned at the end. He did not respond to CBC's request for comment. Michelle Allen, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Now, these allegations come on the heels of a current Winnipeg city councillor also being accused of sexual assault. Transcona councillor Russ Wyatt was charged earlier this week. He's refused to step away from City Hall, despite calls from colleagues and the mayor to do so. Well, he's under no legal obligation to. As CBC's Cameron McLean reports, some of his constituents say it would be the right move.
It's Friday afternoon in Transcona, and for many residents here, the news that their city councillor has been charged with sexual assault is still sinking in. Steve Lipischak ran for council in 2018, a year when Wyatt wasn't on the ballot, and again in 2022 when he lost to Wyatt. His reaction to the news of the charges was immediate and visceral.
Totally at a loss for words at the time, other than felt a gut punch. That's really what it felt like.
For others, the issue isn't just the allegation, but what it means for how the community is represented right now.
He needs to step down immediately. I just don't think he's going to have the capacity to put the focus on the residents of Transcona the way they deserve to be represented.
Those concerns are shared by many of Wyatt's council colleagues who urged him not to show up to Thursday's council meeting, calls Wyatt ignored.
Excuse me, I'm going to my council meeting.
Wyatt refused to answer questions, directing reporters to his lawyer, who says he is innocent and looks forward to defending himself at trial. Under current rules, council can't force him out, unless he's convicted of a serious offense. Still, many residents say stepping aside is the right move.
You're innocent until proven guilty. However, his past history makes people wonder. He honestly should take the mayor's advice and step down until things are resolved.
Wyatt was previously charged with sexual assault in 2018, but that charge was dropped the next year. With the civic election just months away, some say the charges could impact their vote.
I guess we'll have to see when he goes through the court system. But yeah, anything like that, it's going to tarnish his reputation, right?
So far, Wyatt has refused calls for him to step aside, and there's a chance he could run in the next election with the charges still hanging over him. If that happens, voters here in Transcona will have to consider that when they go to the polls in October. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The province's Department of Natural Resources has been fined $100,000 after one of its workers died in 2022. Riley Pitchmanich was working for Manitoba's wildfire service at the time. He died following an ATV crash during a training exercise near the Paw. Pitchmanich was wearing a hard hat, but not a specialized helmet. The province pleaded guilty to 3 charges, including not providing appropriate helmets to employees. His mom says it doesn't feel like justice.
I feel like my son's life is worth way more than $100,000. Not that money's going to bring him back, but I just feel like the whole, the province got a $100,000 fine that's going to a different department of the province.
He was 23 at the time of his death. The department will have up to 1 year to pay the fine. A man who admitted to killing a vulnerable Winnipeg woman in 2007 has been sentenced to 12 years in prison. Kevin Q pleaded down from murder to manslaughter after making a deal with prosecutors. CBC's Caitlin Gowerluck was in court.
It's been close to 2 decades since Crystal Saunders was killed, but the devastation her family felt when they got the news is still there. In a victim impact statement read in court Friday, Sandra Saunders told the man who killed her daughter that the hurt and pain you've caused cannot be forgiven. I'll never hear her voice again, see her dance, do things together. There isn't any more of those moments because of you. Crystal Saunders was 24 when she was killed. The Métis woman's body was found in a ditch near St. Ambrose in April 2007. Without a suspect, the case fell to a task force that reviews unsolved homicides of Indigenous women and girls. A DNA match led to a break in the case years later. Kevin Q was charged with second-degree murder after confessing to undercover officers during a police sting. Last week, Q pleaded down to manslaughter, part of a plea deal prosecutors said came after police misconduct allegations against the main officer involved in the undercover operation. On Friday, a judge agreed with a joint recommendation of 12 years.
We felt that this was a reasonable resolution. The Crown secures the certainty of conviction, and my client gives up his right to fight the charge.
Court heard Crystal Saunders struggled with addictions and homelessness. But Sandra Saunders says she hopes her daughter is remembered as a brilliant, caring woman who is trying hard to get her life back on track. Caitlin Gowerluck, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A Calgary man will never be able to talk or care for himself again after a trip to a Winnipeg hospital. That's according to a lawsuit filed by his father and the Alberta government. They're suing Concordia Hospital, 3 medical providers, the WRHA, and Shared Health. The suit says in 2024, the 23-year-old went into cardiac arrest and suffered a brain injury after he was allegedly given a massive overdose of a potent sedative by hospital staff at Concordia. He later developed gangrene in hospital and had 3 amputations because of it. Alberta is seeking compensation for the costs related to the man's ongoing and continued care in that province since. None of the allegations have been proven in court. The WRHA and Shared Health have declined to comment. One person was taken to hospital after an assault at the University of Manitoba. It happened around 7:30 Thursday night at the university gym. Police say the suspect stabbed the victim in an unprovoked attack. Witnesses did first aid until emergency crews arrived. A 32-year-old man was taken to hospital. Police say it was not a random attack and the 2 knew each other. The university added they were not students or affiliated with the university. Police say a 17-year-old has been charged. 64-year-old man is dead after a snowmobile crash near the community of Powerview Pine Falls. Emergency crews were called around 1 p.m. to a stretch of trail along the Moscow River in the rural municipality of Alexander. RCMP believe he was driving the snowmobile when he lost control and crashed into a tree. He was airlifted to hospital but didn't survive. All right, time now to bring in Riley Lachuk. And Riley, it's nice when we get a little bit of sunshine and a little bit more melting out there.
Yeah, I mean, certainly a carbon copy of Thursday today, Brittany, really across the province. Again, aside from the Hudson Bay coast and parts of northeastern Manitoba, where there has been a bit of extra cloud cover through the day today. But wow, look at, don't have a lot to show you on satellite and radar. That's thanks to high pressure both to our northwest and south of the border that has really cleared things out and will continue to give us some somewhat sunnier skies as we head into the weekend. The thing where we have been a little off the mark again today has been temperatures. I mean, slightly warmer than it was yesterday, -6 in Winnipeg, -5 in Brandon through the afternoon, closer to the freezing mark into southwestern Manitoba, but into southwestern Saskatchewan, one province over, things just about into the double digits in some cases in that province this afternoon. So some warmth to the west. We will get some of that pushing eastward as we get through the weekend here. So as we go through the night, just like last night, increasing clouds. As we head into the early morning, there is the slim chance of a couple of stray flurries in the Red River Valley. A better chance through parts of the northern Interlake of seeing a couple of periods of snow through the overnight hours. -10 first thing in the morning. Winds fairly variable through the day, Brittany, and we're looking all the way up to +1 again through the afternoon. Things look warmer for Sunday. I'll have those details when I come back.
All right. Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Bracing for impact. Why students will soon be on the hook for higher costs when it comes to their education. We'll have more on university tuition next. Manitoba post-secondary students are bracing for the largest tuition increase in almost a decade. One university president says it's needed because his institution is feeling the financial pinch. But students say that's not fair to them. The CBC's Ian Fraze reports.
This about like branching out.
Exactly.
These university students have noticed costs rising everywhere.
Groceries are expensive, gas is expensive, everything's expensive, and university is getting more expensive too.
The Manitoba government has given public universities and colleges the go-ahead to hike tuition this fall by as much as 4%, the biggest increase in 8 years.
I do think it's needed at this time.
University of Manitoba's president says years of modest or no grant increases from the province, plus Ottawa's cuts to international students, have left schools feeling the pinch.
International students had in some ways been subsidizing the system, and with fewer, we need to think about different ways to be able to finance universities.
Manitoba's advanced education minister says the province is doing its part. This year, operating grants to post-secondary schools will rise by 2%, while tuition remains among the lowest in Canada.
We have implemented a 0.5% increase over last year in tuition, and considering the amount of damage that was done by the federal government in their cap on international students, I'm really proud of that.
But one student leader says they shouldn't pick up the slack.
With prices going up, with food insecurity, rent affordability all going up, it just adds another barrier to students, and education becomes an isolated, exclusive thing.
A University of Winnipeg student says some of her friends can relate.
It's already hard enough for most students to have to work to pay off their tuition alongside studying.
The University of Winnipeg says it hasn't decided on an increase to tuition yet. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Animal rights advocates lost a landmark court case in Winnipeg today. A judge ruled a Manitoba company flying horses to Japan for slaughter was not responsible for what happened after they were dropped off at the airport. Under Canadian law, live horses cannot be transported without food, water, and rest for longer than 28 hours. Carlisle Farms was required by law to have a contingency plan in case of unexpected delays. The prosecution argued it didn't, and that put the horses at risk. The defense said it was a shared responsibility, and the judge agreed. Advocacy group Animal Justice says the decision sends a message that no one is responsible for the animals once they're in the air.
To let the export company off the hook when their entire business model is based on selling horses to Japan and getting them to these quarantine facilities is really concerning.
The group says it may appeal. In the meantime, it will continue its campaign to have the Liberal government follow through on a 2021 promise to ban the practice. A Norway House man is suing after being denied access to Indigenous cultural ceremonies. The man is currently on house arrest in Winnipeg, and he says being refused this violates his Charter of Rights. The CBC's Rosanna Hempel reports.
In a lawsuit, Ernest Hart alleges that his probation officer's decision to deny him access to Indigenous cultural ceremonies violates his charter right to freedom of religion. Hart was found guilty of charges in the last 2 years, including arson, assault, and theft under $5,000.
According to an affidavit, Hart can't leave his apartment for 9 months without permission from his supervising officer. His conditional sentence also requires him to go to addictions treatment and counseling. Hart asked to attend cultural activities including cedar baths, pipe ceremonies, and sweats while waiting for long-term addictions treatment. But he alleges his supervisor denied the request, saying that Hart could not do anything, quote, fun until he completed detox. Hart says he was denied again after finishing detox. I feel that access to ceremony is important for both my spirit and for my attempts to address my substance use, as well as my mental health. Hart also says, I feel like I'm being punished for trying to stay connected to my culture.
Hart's lawyer, Leif Jensen, says his client's situation is common among Indigenous people.
If he goes to sweat, he would go to jail after that, and I just think that's really unfortunate.
An affidavit for the supervisor hasn't been filed yet, but according to emails and exhibits, they said Hart may attend ceremonies after completing both detox and residential treatment, and that they support his participation in traditional ceremony. Justice Minister Matt Wieb's office says he's unable to comment on matters before the court. The hearing is scheduled for mid-May. Rosanna Hempel, CBC News, Winnipeg.
All right, Riley back in now. And Riley, I know one of your favorite parts and mine are being out in the community, getting to meet people,
Yes.
getting to meet viewers, share their
Absolutely.
stories. I had the chance to do that last night, so I just wanted to say hi to Danica and Shaylin and a bunch of the girls that I met last night. They throw incredible events around the city.
Okay.
And viewers, so we like to say hi and hope you guys are watching us tonight.
Sounds like fun.
It's so much fun. You know, there's so much cool stuff that happens in Winnipeg. It gets a bad rap some of the time, but man, cool stuff happening all the time.
Yeah, prepare for a warm weekend too. If you've got any outdoor plans in particular, looking at things above the freezing mark, it doesn't last though. Here are some of the, I guess, headlines, the highlights as we get through the weekend here. So some slightly warmer air pushes into the province. I mean, this is a pretty well province-wide warm-up, even into northern Manitoba, looking at temperatures in the minus single digits as we get through the weekend. I have been teasing a system that I've been keeping my eye on. Last night I was talking more like a Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. Well, now some of the model guidance is suggesting it's perhaps a Monday, Tuesday time frame. So I'll break this down for you in just a minute. And in behind that, some cooler air starts to push into the province. So we're starting to get into some warmer air. You know, when I was looking at this, when I was showing you yesterday, this was more of a zonal flow, right? The jet stream kind of cutting across the international border with much of the prairie provinces into the cooler air. Well, now we're starting to get a bit of a ridge starting to build into the west again. And that, as it pushes east, will get us into some warmer air as we get into the weekend with this trough starting to develop over parts of northwestern Ontario. So closer to the surface, a couple of areas of high pressure, one south of the border, one over the territories. That has kept things relatively sunny for the most part. Weak trough pushes across the northern part of the Interlake into parts of the Parkland as we get overnight. This does introduce some cloud cover into southern Manitoba, and I think there is the risk that we see a couple of stray flurries in Winnipeg, but more so, you know, Arborg, Riverton, Hecla, fairly good chance of seeing some light snow first thing in the morning. In behind that, more like a mix of sun and clouds, fairly similar to today as we get through the afternoon. And then as we push into the start of Monday, you'll see a clipper starting to develop here to the west and into the Monday time frame. This is looking like a fairly good shot at some light snow really right across southern Manitoba. Maybe a bit early to talk amounts, but certainly to the tune of 5+ centimeters in some cases is possible. So there's still a bit of uncertainty in the timing and the exact track, but just as we head into the Monday, Tuesday timeframe, prepare for a bit of messy weather pretty much right across southern Manitoba, in particular Trans-Canada and south. So first thing in the morning tomorrow, still looking at minus double digits, a bit on the cooler side, not as cold as it was the past couple of mornings, minus 10 in Winnipeg, minus 9 in Brandon, and some warmer air into southwestern Manitoba, still looking at temperatures close to minus 20 in northern Manitoba to start the day. So by the afternoon, plus 1 in Winnipeg, plus 3 into the day on Sunday, and we're looking at that system pushing through with some cooler air in behind it by the middle of next week.
The weather update is brought to you by Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. When things go wrong, we do what's right.
Well, we got a nice bit of sunshine out there today, some melting. Hopefully we see more of that continuing. We have more straight ahead right after this. It takes just a few minutes to drive to the closest hospital for residents living in Creighton. The only problem is, it's not in Saskatchewan. It's across the border in Flin Flon, Manitoba. It's close, but accessing timely health care is a jurisdictional nightmare. Now leaders living in neighboring provinces are hoping a new committee can help cut through the red tape. CBC's Eric Westhaver has more.
Here, you go with Grandma.
Hi, Grandma needs to talk to you.
Maureen McBratney needs dialysis 3 times a week. However, treatment hasn't always been easy.
I was not allowed to get dialysis at the Flin Flon General Hospital because I was a Saskatchewan resident, and it's in Manitoba, which is literally a 20-minute drive from my home.
In 2023, McBratney's kidneys failed. She was taken by ambulance to Saskatoon, where she needed to stay for dialysis. She spent months there, while family pushed for her to use the Flin Flon Hospital, not far from her home in Danair Beach, Saskatchewan. After countless letters and meetings, she was finally approved. Situations like McBratney's have inspired a new committee meant to help local health care. Chair Dan Halady lives in Creighton and uses the Flin Flon Hospital.
That is our hospital. That is our access to health care in the region. And to hear that there's kind of a border situation within the organization, it's disturbing.
Flin Flon's hospital is located in Manitoba, but part of Flin Flon and the nearby towns of Creighton and Danair Beach are in Saskatchewan. Other hospitals are too far away, so people use the one across the border in Manitoba. Nearby communities use it too, but not everyone gets the same access. Flin Flon Deputy Mayor Alison Dallas Funk wants to see Saskatchewan people treated equally.
So the idea that the service is there and that they're not treated the same is absolutely negligent. Imagine the cost to those families, and then you're not with your loved ones as well.
McBratney hopes other patients will have fewer issues in the future.
There's lots of cross-border issues that are just so silly. Nobody is using common sense.
The Northern Health Region operates Flin Flon General Hospital. In a statement, a spokesperson said it isn't involved with the committee, but is willing to listen to feedback. Eric Westhaver, CBC News, Flin Flon.
Winnipeg police are warning about a spike in grandparent scam reports over the past 2 months. Police have also laid charges in one recent case. Investigators say a person in their 80s got a call from someone pretending to be a justice official. They told the victim a relative had been arrested and needed money to avoid jail time. Police say the story was all a scam, but the victim didn't find out until after they gave money to a man they didn't know who came to their house. Earlier this month, police arrested a 24-year-old man from Quebec at a home in Winnipeg. He's charged with fraud and remains in custody. Dozens of ash trees will have to be cut down in the Glenwood area of Winnipeg. It's all due to the invasive emerald ash borer. This is the first significant detection of the beetle west of the Seine River. An environmental studies professor at the University of Winnipeg says new infestations are concerning, but not surprising, considering the beetle's rapid spread everywhere else in North America. The city will start removing infected ash trees in the coming weeks. Former Premier Brian Pallister is returning to the Manitoba legislature. Well, sort of. His official portrait has been unveiled and will hang in the halls alongside other former leaders. The now retired politician faced controversy over health care and his government's handling of the pandemic before stepping down in the middle of his second term. CBC's Ian Fraze spoke with him for the first time since leaving it all behind.
Well, I think I'm slimmer than that guy.
Former Premier Brian Pallister cracking wise after his official portrait was unveiled at the legislature. He posed for this painting near the community of High Bluff beside a prominent river in his life.
Assiniboine is very near and dear to me because that was, embraces Winnipeg, Portage and Brandon, the 3 communities where I've lived and where I studied, where I built my businesses, and where I represented people in politics.
He says this is the first portrait of a premier set outdoors.
And that's out of respect for the people outside of this building, the people who built the province, the people who will build it going forward.
Manitoba's 22nd premier says it was those people who guided his work, from his few years in opposition to becoming premier in 2016.
We weren't a big promise party. We did make the effort to say we will try to fix the finances.
The PCs won 2 convincing majorities, but their austerity measures took a toll. Pallister's popularity slipped during the pandemic.
But I would say to Manitobans, thank you for your efforts because we saved lives.
Pallister resigned in 2021. His successor as premier believes history will be kind.
But without any playbook and with knowing that every decision was going to be loved or hated by equal parts of the population, I think they'll look back and see that he was a strong leader in a difficult time.
Pallister says he wants to be remembered for leading a government that did what it said it would.
Hard to believe, scrawny kid from a small farm west of Portage la Prairie becoming the premier of Manitoba and having a portrait here. It's a pretty great honor.
And now his painting will hang in the legislature forever. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
There's more reason now to enjoy the outdoors during spring break. Manitobans can take advantage of free fishing and free entry to provincial parks starting Friday. The province says locals as well as visitors can fish without a license until April 5th. Though anglers will still be required to follow all possession limits and size restrictions. Meantime, entry to provincial parks will be free throughout the entire month of April. The federal New Democrats choose their next leader this weekend. The result will come Sunday at their convention right here in Winnipeg. But starting Monday, an even steeper road lies ahead for whoever proves to be the winner. The CBC's David Thurton has this look at the candidates.
As we speak, New Democrats are voting right now, selecting the next leader of the NDP. 5 candidates are on the ballot. Tennille Johnston, a social worker, is pushing an anti-poverty platform. Tony McQuail wants to put electoral reform back on the political agenda. Rob Ashton, a Vancouver dock worker and labor leader, is in it to unite the working class, bringing back New Democrats. The party lost to the Conservative. The 2 other candidates are Avi Lewis and Heather McPherson. Both are the perceived frontrunners. McPherson is a sitting MP from Alberta. She is positioning herself as the pragmatic candidate, the one who can work with the NDP's provincial wings to rebuild the party.
New Democrats, we're strong. We are government in Manitoba. We are government in British Columbia. We are official opposition in the Yukon, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario, Nova Scotia. We need to work together.
Pushing transformative policy proposals is Lewis. He's calling for public grocery stores and an end to new fossil fuel expansion.
I feel excited. It's, there's a kind of a jarring disconnect between the amount of energy and momentum at our base and the fact that the country isn't yet aware of it. And so I think this weekend is our re-coming out party, and I think it's going to be really exciting.
New Democrats face a big decision. It's unclear how many of the 100,000 eligible voters have actually cast their ballot, but they have until Saturday to make up their minds. David Thurton, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Many Canadians were amused and a little alarmed when a video emerged showing WestJet passengers wedged in their seats thanks to a new configuration that sacrificed legroom for the sake of more rows. Now CBC News has learned the federal government had been warned about it weeks before that video went viral. Julia Wong has the exclusive details.
How's your seat, honey?
This is terrible.
A lighthearted tone, but behind it, potential safety concerns. In early January, Lindsay Noble and her 6'3" tall husband Rob boarded their WestJet plane for a roughly 5-hour flight to Regina.
His knees, if we hit turbulence, are going to get cracked up against this metal. Second, there's no way that he could actually get into the brace position.
About 2 months ago, WestJet announced it was reversing course on adding an extra row of seats on 43 planes, sacrificing passenger space.
Dad, can you just straighten out your legs there? Impossible.
After videos showcasing the squeeze went viral. Now, documents obtained by CBC News through an access to information request reveal about a month before those viral videos, a flight attendant alerted Transport Canada to an imminent safety risk on reconfigured planes. The warning, also flagged to WestJet, outlined an incident in December where a tall passenger became physically trapped in their seat. only able to get out after force was used. It raised concerns about whether passengers could self-evacuate and called for it to be addressed proactively and for a prompt review. Transport Canada responded to the attendant, saying it followed up with WestJet and was satisfied the airline was assessing this hazard.
Your knee's digging in.
That does not satisfy Noble.
I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated. I can't believe that you ignored something that involves passengers' safety. That's why you exist.
This professor says he's not surprised by how Transport Canada handled the complaint.
It's a really discretionary matter as to whether they find anything of substance to move forward with it or not.
In a statement, Transport Canada would only say it prioritizes passenger safety and stressed legroom is not federally regulated. WestJet would not comment on the specific complaint, but says in a statement, modifications were made in accordance with Transport Canada's airworthiness standards. The airline says 3 out of 21 already reconfigured airplanes have been converted back. The rest are expected to be done by the end of the year. Julia Wong, CBC News, Edmonton.
Coming up, the Juno Awards are happening this Sunday. After the break, we'll hear from a singer-songwriter from Peguis First Nation who's nominated for Album of the Year in the Contemporary Roots category. More on that next. Stay with us.
it's that time of year, Manitoba. Pothole season. These puppies pop up every year in spring, varying in size from small holes to large craters. But did you know that the weather plays a huge part in determining the state of potholes in the city? The weather in Winnipeg is the perfect breeding ground for them. When you combine long winters and wet springs and add in lots of fluctuating temperatures, it's a recipe for potholes. Here's how they form. When the snow melts, that water seeps through the cracks in the road. That water collects and softens the road base. Once that water freezes, it expands and pushes the pavement upwards. The magic ingredient in making a pothole? Traffic. All those wheels add extra stress on the pavement that's already weakened by the cracks and water. Then it becomes drier, that water evaporates, leaving a hole in the pavement. The weight of the passing cars causes the road surface to collapse into the hole. And voila, this is the end result. Potholes can hit your car and wall it hard. So be cautious while you're driving this spring so you don't lose your annual battle or a wheel to potholes this season. Riley Lechuk, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Ahead of the Juno Awards this weekend, folk musician William Prince sat down with CBC Vancouver. Prince has won 2 Juno Awards and is nominated once again in 2026, this time for Album of the Year in the Contemporary Roots category. The singer-songwriter from Peguis First Nation talked about his music, spirituality, and why his friends and family give him endless inspiration for songwriting.
William Prince, thank you for coming in.
Amish, thanks for having me.
That's my traditional name. Do you have a traditional name?
No. I was about to get one, and the elder that was going to give it to me. I was on tour, and he passed away. And I got real close to it. I was starting to go to a healing lodge and talk about things with him, and yeah, and he sadly just suddenly passed away.
You've played in small towns and in cities.
Yeah.
Between two, where do you think you've drawn the most Indigenous fans?
Believe it or not, I don't know if I draw that many Indigenous fans. I draw a nice collection of friends and supporters, and family extends out, and then I do tend to meet a lot of a fair amount of Indigenous people. I'd say here in BC for sure. I'm thankful for every person that shows up.
Christianity is a big part of your life.
It's not. Not at all. I want to say that right now. Okay. I made a gospel album and everybody thinks I'm a Christian, and that's the part. I'm happy to say I follow the 7 sacred grandfather teachings. You know, I believe in the cosmos. I'm not a subscriber to any faith of that. I was a kid who got to set up the amps and guitars and play in the gospel band, and I made a gospel record as an homage to the forced Christianity that, you know, assimilated and took away a lot of the culture. But I grew up playing that music, and it's very nostalgic, and it taught me how to play guitar and sing, and so that's what I wanted to celebrate in the record.
You talk about trauma and grief, but also about healing. In some of your songs. How do you walk those fields and between pain and happiness?
I made a whole record about that. Stand in the Joy was the record I made, the last one, and it's, you know, despite the challenges that were a part of my origin, despite the trauma of others around me that I've carried so heavily, and, you know, a father who dealt with a lot of pain, and a mom who was part of the 60s scoop, you know, and raised by white parents that were not always kind to her, That was just part of our everyday life as children, and that's why it carries forward. I wish more people understood that. With that, I've decided not to let it control the narrative. You know, we are not, our trauma is not our fault, but dealing with it is our responsibility, something along those lines, I believe. I want to show the world that I am enjoying this ride. I'm happy to be here. I get to be here, I don't have to be. And I'm not afraid to cry it out once in a while, you know. I think more people should embrace that softness and recognize what they're feeling so that we can find a way to live with it.
Something a healer said to me recently. He was saying, people who come to see him who had been residential school survivors, he asks them, are you always going to use that phrase to define yourself? Because it seems to me every time you call yourself a residential school survivor,
you go back to that place.
Is that back again?
Yeah.
What is next? Where is next? He said, I can't answer that for you. You have to think about that yourself.
Rightfully so. I agree. I'm lucky, you know, I've been through some difficult, challenging things, but nothing of that magnitude, I will say. I was never taken. I was never displaced. The next place, I hope, is at least some kind of optimism that we as Indigenous people, my cousin, he's a great teacher to me. I very much like how he is always rooting for our good, our laughter, our joking nature, our way of our performance, dancers, artists, you know, painters. These are the Indigenous people that I'm surrounded by these days. You know, my cousin, Indigo Arrows, just an incredible designer, and Blake Angikaneb, one of my best friends, a painter, and, you know, doing insane collaborations. Sorry, just my cousin Alan running the Sakiwe Festival in Manitoba that brings great music to neighborhoods that don't always get that kind of music.
William Prince, thank you for your time and thank you for coming by.
Thank you, Manish. Thanks for having me. Nice chatting with you.
Cheers.
The weather update is brought to you by Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. When things go wrong, we do what's right.
And of course, you can tune in on Sunday to catch the Juno Awards, and good luck to William Prince.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's going to be a good one.
This is my favorite kind of call out. I know we did a call out last time, but it is Feline Friday.
Yes, it is.
I'm a dog lover, unfortunately, for the cat people, but...
Let me just preface this by saying we clearly have a province of cat lovers because I've got over 30 cats in the queue right now. So it's going to take me a while to get to all of those. I could use some more dogs, though, because, or your fish or your turtles or something like that. Yeah, I'm sorry if you've sent your cats in. It's going to take me a while to get to them all because I've got a lot to get through. So we'll get through a couple of them tonight. How about Moxie, who maybe looks a little bit annoyed that there's still this much snow in the backyard. Thank you, Liz and Gil, for this one. And one more, Clarabeau from Angela. Don't know, you probably can't tell because she looks so sweet and so cute, but she is 21 years old. Please send me your dogs to talkback@cbc.ca. You can send your cats too, but it might be a while before I can get to them because I've got a lot, which is not a bad problem to have. So as we get through the afternoon tomorrow, looking at the sun returning, so another scenario like we saw today, although I think more of a sun-cloud mix tomorrow, up to 1 degree in Winnipeg, and winds will be fairly variable throughout the day. So looking at temperatures, these are our high temps across the continent, or at least part of the United States into some of this. -6 in Winnipeg this afternoon, +6 in Bismarck, where we saw some of those real high readings through parts of Montana and the U.S. Southwest. We have started to moderate things a little bit. So Billings at 14 degrees, Kansas City at 13. This is where we saw temperatures close to or exceeding 30 degrees as well through the later part of last week. So starting to get a bit more moderation, back to something a little bit more seasonal, although we will start to return to more seasonal air on this side of the border as well. So overnight temperatures around -10 through parts of Westman, Brandon, mostly cloudy, -11. We'll see some cloud cover starting to push in as we get through the night. That clears as we get through the day tomorrow. -4 in Melita, -16 with a mostly cloudy sky in Dauphin. Maybe a few flurries through parts of northern Manitoba, minus 24 in Norway House, and looking at minus 23 in Shamattawa with a mainly cloudy sky. As we look through Saturday, again, mostly cloudy through much of northern Manitoba, minus 3 in Thompson by the afternoon. Where we do have a chance of flurries is along the Hudson Bay coast with a fairly gusty wind, minus 10 in Churchill through the afternoon. Minus 4 is really through much of the rest of the region, minus 3 in the Pas and OCN as we get through the afternoon. And we'll see that cloud exiting, maybe some flurries first thing through parts of the Interlake. And then we're into a mix of sun and clouds as we get through the afternoon across southern Manitoba. And temperatures, Brittany, very near the freezing mark, looking at +1 in Winnipeg by the afternoon, but could get into 5 and 6 degree territory closer to the international border.
All right, thank you, Riley. Up next, it's not an ordinary hospital, but this doctor does do major surgery, bringing stuffies back to life for decades. You'll meet her right after the break.
All right, let's have a look at your 7-day forecast now. So prepare for a warmer weekend, really right across the province as we head through Saturday into Sunday. A mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, more so cloudy in the morning. Then we'll get some clearing. +1, +3 into Sunday. And then there's that system that I've been watching. Again, you know, I was showing the long-range models yesterday with the potential for this as a Tuesday, early Wednesday timeframe. This is an example of how things can change over the course of a couple of days. So looking at a clipper pushing through the province as we get through the later part of Monday into Tuesday, some parts of western Manitoba could be in for even up to 10 centimeters of snow in those higher elevations. Again, there's still a bit of uncertainty, so things could change on this one as we get into early next week, but we do get into some cooler air in behind that for the middle of the week as well. Well, from pet attacks to missing parts or just too much loving, there's almost no teddy bear the woman in this next story, Brittany, cannot fix.
Michelle Gomez takes us to a hospital and spa used to nurture stuffed toys back to life. Here's your daily lift.
Hello, Dr. Ruth. How are you?
Good seeing you. This is Ruth Hassman, a former seamstress. She's dedicated her retirement to repairing old and broken stuffed animals.
Welcome to the Teddy Bear and Stuffy Hospital.
This is where the magic happens.
This is where it happens.
From missing stuffing to eyeball replacements to fur grafts, there's almost no bear she can't fix.
I think he's about 75, probably about 75 years old.
Hassman has been doing this for decades and has repaired thousands of toys. SpongeBob is going under the needle.
Under the needle, yes.
Her supplies are endless.
So I've got different colors, different textures. A growler.
And her favorite part is meeting the clients and hearing their stories.
I get these little notes from, from the kids, and it's like, just, it just pulls my heart.
All the stuffing kind of fell to like the bottom part, and he was just like a piece of spaghetti. He's had a long day.
Hassman says Sylvester is expected to make a full recovery.
I love that. So much love, and you know there's some parents out there that can really use some help fixing those stuffies.
Trying to find the contact information now. Don't we all?
Love that. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you back here next week.
On Monday.